Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the hashtag
TFR
Motivation Monday Zoom. We are Dr. Dondi and Marcy Nettles.
Hi, guys.
We're going to be sharing with you some what I believe and what Marcy and I have been talking about recently is completely transformational information that you may have seen or heard put maybe similarly to what you're going to hear the way I want to put this tonight. But I'm hoping at the end of tonight's presentation that you truly understand the magnitude of the opportunity that we have literally to change the future of humanity, because that's what we have here in our hands at LifeVantage.
Well, I hope that you have more information and more understanding, more belief, but I also hope that you have a little bit more urgency.
Yes.
Because we are not the only ones that are, looking for ways to help better people's lives and health. So we want to make sure that we start taking better advantage of that. So before we get started, remember to go and subscribe to the Team Freedom Reigns YouTube channel. Just search us, Team Freedom Reigns, and we'll come up. Just go ahead and subscribe, ring the bell so that you get notifications every single time that we upload this content. And we do that every single week for you. So it's easy for you to go and find when you have someone that has a question, or maybe it's your question that you have. And before we move into the call, I just wanted to let everybody know, corporate has been doing a really great job. Skylar Fobbs has been doing live videos every single Monday morning, and the majority of the announcements that we need are always in those videos. And so I don't want to be redundant. So make sure that you have either gone to the official LifeVantage distributor Facebook page and watched the live video from this morning, or if you're part of Team Freedom Reigns, I have put that link into Team Freedom Reigns Facebook page as well. Make sure and go and watch that information. It'll give you everything that you need to know for this week, as well as we hope that you guys are all working hard on your 31-day challenge still, okay? So let's go ahead and get going into tonight's call.
Absolutely. So we're going to be talking about Nutrigenomics and the stamp that LifeVantage has put on this term, Nutrigenomics, literally nutrition being able to influence the very DNA that makes up all of you. In the 27 plus trillion cells that you have in your body, all of them have a double helix DNA strain or chain rather, and Nutrigenomics can impact it dramatically. So what I want to do first is, sometimes in order to understand the magnitude of the future, we have to perhaps look at the past and the signs or the breadcrumbs that the past has been leaving behind us. And I want to kind of allude to something that Matthew McConaughey, you guys may have known, he's a Hollywood actor, and he was asked, who is his greatest hero? And his response was himself in 10 years. So he's always chasing his future self, but in 10 years from now, he says, my hero is me 10 years from now. And he didn't say that to be arrogant or to be conceited. He said that to challenge himself to be his best, so that when he's there, he looks at himself now, he's the hero of himself 10 years back. And what I want to do is, giving you that analogy, is to look at the past. Where did the focus on genetics or genomics, it wasn't even called genomics up until recently, the last 10 to 15 years, where did it start? And how long has it been around? So I'm going to take you guys on a historical trip into the past using magazine covers to get started. So first of all, and I'm going to use Time magazine for the most part, but in 1963, Life magazine said, scientists close in on the secret of life, the mysterious DNA molecule. So this was that was over 59 years ago. Next year, it'll be 60 years ago that this cover story of Life magazines introduced the pursuit of DNA and the secrets of life. Well, a little less than 10 years later, the cover of Time magazine, the new genetics. Now this term, genetics, man into Superman. 6 years later, again, cover story of Time magazine, the DNA Führer tinkering with life. So what are we looking at? We're looking at human potential, we're looking at life itself, and we're looking at the scientific pursuit and medical pursuit of optimizing our genetics down to our DNA, again, which every one of our 27 trillion cells has. So 1981, Cover story: shaping life in the lab. This is still theory. They're trying to figure out how to optimize human potential genetically in the lab. And this is Genentech's Herbert Boyer. I'm going to tell you now in advance. So in 1981, Genentech, cover story Time magazine. Remember the name Genentech. I'm going to get to it in a couple minutes on something revolutionary. So 1999, 18 years later, the special issue of The Future of Medicine, How Genetic Engineering Will Change Us in the Next Century. Well, interestingly enough, this episode was so popular in 1999. The one in the middle you see there is January of 1999. They reissued it 2 months later with a different cover. It was that popular. That's March 1999. You see the one all the way to the right. So The Future of Medicine, get that. The Future of Medicine. Now we're going from the pursuing changing life, optimizing life. In 1999, it shifted to optimizing medicine. Key point here. So now 2000, just a year later, cracking the code. These two scientists, actually bitter rivals, and the code had not been cracked yet, but they were pursuing it deeply in 2000. A year later, resurfacing the approach, the drugs of the future. Get what it says there. Amazing new medicines will be based on DNA. Find out how they will change your life. They're mentioning changing your life as it relates to medicine, the future of drugs. Okay, see where it shifted just 2 years back, 2001, now 9 years later, another key shift. Why your DNA is not your destiny. The new science of epigenetics. When 2010, guys, this was only 12 years ago. The scientific approach changed from the pursuit of optimizing life, it changed to optimizing medicine as it relates to life, to now it's not all about DNA. You can influence your DNA by how you live your life. That's what epigenetics is. Key transition or key pivotal point just 12 years ago. A year later, the cover story Time magazine, 2045, the year man becomes immortal. And if you can't, the font is really small, but in the bottom right corner of that magazine article there, that cover story, it talks about if you think humans and machines will become one, they talk about this project. Well, transhumanism. We're hearing a lot about transhumanism now, just 11 years after that. Well, the middle story there, the gene machine CRISPR technology, where now they're doing gene editing and gene addition, gene subtraction. Major pivotal moment 5 years later, just 6 years ago in gene machine, the key emphasis here. Now, 3 years out, or the same year, genetics, the future is now. We're talking about genetic and medical optimization through optimizing drugs. It's the approach of DNA alteration, DNA influence, DNA editing, and things of that nature. Now, key shift happened in 2013. It's when big tech joined big pharma in this game, in this pursuit of profit. So in September of 2013, Apple and Google and Genentech. Remember Genentech from that magazine back in 1981. So those three massive global companies, Google, Apple, and Genentech, formed something called Calico Labs. They started now entering the game, which was previous just medicine, just science. Big tech got involved. Why do you think? Because it's profitable. Well, 9 years later, so 2013, 9 years later would be this year. Okay, so 9 years later, billions money spent, no medications to market. Remember, they want to change medicine, none to market, no competition, huge global demand. It opened the door for a competition, and this massive profit potential is what's driving the interest of big tech. Well, something happened 2 months ago in January. A new face in the longevity field arose. And do you see those two guys there? You may notice the bottom left corner, Elon Musk, president and CEO and founder of Tesla, and Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. Arguably the two richest men in the world. They transfer back and forth that number one position or that number one title, the richest man in the world, between the two of them. But Just 2 months ago, the guy on the right, Jeff Bezos, started Altos Labs. When the richest man in the world joins big tech and big pharma in the game, why would he do this? Why would Altos Labs be formed? Because it is literally the race to change humanity. But I want to now make this key distinction. What are they trying to do? They're trying to optimize medicine, and the other approach is to optimize human health. Very, very different approaches. That's where we come in. So Apple, I want to now shift and talk about Apple. Apple thinks differently. The whole thing about thinking different is what changes the world. It's only, and I forget the exact quote, but it's something like the people that are daring and courageous enough to think that they can change the world are oftentimes the ones who do. You just have to believe. Apple believed that, and I want to show you guys here in a historical timeline of Apple. I don't know if you guys don't know this or not. Apple did not invent the personal computer. Apple did not invent music streaming, and they certainly did not invent the cell phone, but they are the world's #1 in all three categories. Here's the timeline. 1973, Xerox comes out with the Alta computer. 2 years later, IBM, the 5100 computer. 2 years later, Apple comes third in line to enter the first computer. And guess what? There's only one of them left standing. Why? Because Apple thought different about the computer and what the potential of it was. 1999, Napster. For those of you who are old enough to remember, you could go download music for free on the internet. Napster, peer-to-peer music sharing. A year later, because Napster was taking all kinds of bad press, starting from the band of Metallica, a year later, LimeWire came around. Again, peer-to-peer music. A year later, Apple iTunes is released. Guess which one's still around and the #1 music sharing service in the world? iTunes. Not because they were first, because they thought different about the opportunity. 1973, the Motorola Dynatac phone, the first cell phone was introduced, 1973. 12 years later, Siemens comes out with their first cell phone. 2 years later, Nokia. A year later, Samsung. Almost 20 years later, the iPhone 2G. It's when, now we're in 5G, this was 2G. Apple's first iPhone was in 2007. So what is that? 27 years, 35 years after the first cell phone. And guess how many of those are still around and by far the #1? Apple iPhone is #1 in the world, not because they were first in any of these, because they thought different about the process. And why I gave you that historical perspective is because LifeVantage happens to be the first, but we think differently. And now let me share with you guys this perspective. So Nutrigenomics, I put in parentheses, think different to attach that similar approach to Apple. Nutrigenomics is a very different way of thinking. It's not about optimizing medicine so that medicines work better on DNA. It's optimizing your DNA so that medicines are less and less necessary. Do you see the difference? Only one approach is really handling and really pursuing human optimization of health, and that is nutrigenomics. Well, now let me share with you this quest that we have, starting first with Dr. Joe McCord, who started this process. 1969, now you can hear my voice losing a little bit. 1969, Dr. McCord, as a grad student at Duke University, discovers SOD. We now know what is superoxide dismutase. The world had no idea what it was. It's measured in McCord units. That's how important that discovery was. Almost 20 years later, Dr. McCord wins the Elliott Cresson Medal for his discovery of free radical biology. It's been nominated many, many times for many other things. 2003, the Human Genome Project was complete, where those guys were trying to crack the code, those bitter enemies in 2000. Well, 3 years later, they did it. And that same year, Protandim NRF2 came out, changing the world forever, taking what we knew about the human genome, applying nutrition to it, and optimizing human health. 12 years later, Protandim NRF1 comes out, optimizing cellular energy for literally at the DNA level, optimizing human health. 4 years later, Protandim NAD comes out, optimizing sirtuin function and cellular performance. We have three trend-setting, groundbreaking discoveries to market as we speak. So to keep score on this whole pursuit, LifeVantage has 3 activators to market. Calico Labs, 0 medicines to market. Altos Labs, 0 medicines to market. And whoever comes after them, wherever they start, 0 products to market. We already have a massive head start. Here's now where this becomes critically important. We have this path to genetic health. One side of the equation is looking at pharmacogenomic drugs to transform medicine. The other side, nutrigenomic activators to transform human health. The choices have consequences. So if we're putting billions and billions, which we are not at LifeVantage, because we don't have to, but the competition, there is no competition. They're trying to duplicate what we already have. And billions and billions and billions of dollars later, they have nothing. What does that tell you? And Altos Labs, $3 billion they had started 2 months ago when Jeff Bezos entered this equation. I'll talk about that slide here in a second. So here's literally where we are. Pharmacogenomics, if you're not familiar with the term, look at the first sentence. That's really all you need to know. Pharmacogenomics is the study of how genes, your DNA, affects a person's response to what? Drugs. Pharmacogenomics is only concerned about your body's response to drugs. Now, this is the science of drugs. Why is that important? Because the human health spectrum is extremely poor. This is as it relates to diseases. Terminal diseases is the only reason that pharmacogenomics exists. If there were no diseases, there would be no market. So it's trying to make profit off of drugs that help your body heal from the disease that you had to get to have to or develop to even get in the game. That's the flaw in the approach, but that is their approach. Now we're going to go back to magazine articles. Check this out. There's that 2013 when big pharma and big tech came together. Discover magazine, The Science of Aging. Does DNA hold the secrets to longevity? Okay, next slide. Here's the press release, September 2013, when Google, Apple, and Genentech enter into the game of trying to get into health and wellness and longevity. No products to market yet in almost 10 years. Actually, I got Max.
Okay. Let's take a drink.
Economist
Time out.
and Bloomberg Business Week, business journals. Why would business journals have cover stories that include DNA and lifespan? Because again, it's profitable. Why would Google and the 2 richest men in the world try to get involved in this game? Because it's profitable. Altos Labs, this is the press release. Now look at the headline. Altos Labs launches with the goal to transform medicine. The goal to transform medicine through cellular regeneration rejuvenation programming. The goal is not to transform human health. The goal is to transform medicine. That's not our goal. Our goal is to transform human health so that medicine is not necessary. Which one do you think will have a greater longevity with regard to human health, drugs or preventing their need? That's really the difference, the clear difference, and why I think our approach in nutrigenomics is so much better. Next slide. DNA revolution. Time magazine again, this baby could live to be 142 years old. This is again the pharmacogenomics approach of medicine and big tech and research coming together to change medicine, not the approach. Okay. Here we go. Here's really the silver lining and the bigger approach, the better approach, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, if you will. Nutrigenomics. What is that? It's the study of how nutrients interact with your genes and how individual genetic differences can affect your requirements and how you respond to vitamins, minerals, and compounds. You cover over where I was reading.
Sorry.
And the foods we eat. Okay, nutrigenomics is one of the most exciting, revolutionary, and cutting-edge fields of nutrition, genetics, and modern medicine. Now, interestingly enough, they included, this is not our definition of nutrigenomics. This is their definition of nutrigenomics. But look what they tried to do at the end there. Tried to sneak in or throw their anchor onto what we've already got going, because it has nothing to do with medicine, modern, historic, at all. Because nutrigenomics is not to produce better medicine, it's to produce better cells that don't need the medicine in the first place. That's really the approach. That is the entire approach of LifeVantage. So what is nutrigenomics as it relates to what we do? It's nutrition working through cell signaling to turn on your genes. The nutrition is the signaling molecule, the ingredients of our products. The cell signaling is the cell's communication system to itself and the cells around it. And the gene activation is turning on health promoting genes so that medicines aren't necessary or as necessary. What a novel approach. What an amazing approach. Not trying to optimize medicine, trying to optimize human health and our genes. So this is what we're offering here at LifeVantage currently. Our nutrigenomic activators. I mentioned them previously. Protandim NRF2, Protandim NRF1, and Protandim NAD. All three of those activators are groundbreaking. They're scientific brand new discoveries. Nobody has anything like them, and we already think different. Now, I want to go back now. Why did I show you that Apple was not the first? They didn't invent any of those things. We didn't invent NRF2 activation. We did not invent NRF1 activation, and we definitely did not invent NAD activation. We were just the first company to market to truly maximize the expression of something we already had using natural approach of nutrigenomics. That is our activators. But we also have another approach. We're going to be talking about essential vitamins and minerals to support that nutrigenomic approach, and then additional nutritional support in going beyond supplements. So let's talk now about these activators. What is the cell signaling? The cell signaling molecule is the ingredients or the nutrient or the product. NRF2, NRF1, NAD triggers a receptor in your cell. Your cell responds by signaling a certain pathway, and it goes to the DNA or goes to the nucleus, and the gene activation occurs. Caused by the nutrient, caused by the product, would not exist without the product. Now, here's the nutrient, Protandim NRF2, the ingredients in it: milk thistle, bacopa, ashwagandha, green tea, turmeric, curcumin, black pepper, and lychee. Now, I included all the ingredients in our international formulas too. There's only 5 in any given formula per whatever country, but I listed all of them that are included. What's the switch? It's the NRF2 pathway. What's the benefit? Turning on the antioxidant and detoxification pathways of the human body. Unbelievable approach to wellness. And guess what? No drugs out there that do that. What's another nutrient? The NRF1 pathway. Acetyl L-carnitine, quercetin, alpha-lipoic acid, grape extract, and CoQ10. The 5 ingredients in that phenomenal product. What's the switch? It's the NRF1 pathway. What's the benefit? Turning on cellular energy pathway, increasing available energy. So one of the things about cells, sometimes cells wear out before their time because they don't have enough energy to continue. Imagine what would happen to your car when it runs out of gas, but you're not all the way to work yet, or you're not all the way to your destination. Oh, well, you're either going to have to walk, call an Uber, or catch a ride, because the benefit is no longer there. The energy is gone. The whole approach here is to keep the energy pure, keep it around longer, and have it be NRF1 gene activating energy production, not stimulant like caffeine or any other things, but at the DNA level. And the next major breakthrough here, the nutrient wasabi, olive leaf extract, cuprous niacin, which is copper and niacin combined, and theocrine. Unbelievable new study about that last component there, theocrine. What's the switch? The NAD pathway. What's the benefit? Turning on cellular waste removal, which is called autophagy for the keto fans out there. For the intermittent fasting fans or time restricted eating fans, it's autophagy maximization. How important is it? Well, it was nominated for the Nobel, or won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2017. That's how powerful autophagy is. And what else does it do? Focus and concentration, supporting positive mood and motivation. The 3 nutrients, the 3 switches, the 3 benefits, which no one else has. We call that the tri-synergizer, the Protandim tri-synergizer. For what? To feel better and do more. Do you see anything in there about optimizing medicine or improving medicine or your body's response to medicine? No, because that's not the approach. The approach is to feel better, do more, so that you don't need DNA enhanced medicines. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with their approach, but when they're pursuing that, and why are they not going after a supplement approach? Number one, we already have the patents on it. Number two, we already have the head start. And number three, it's not nearly as profitable as the things that they want to make, because they're doing it for the profit, not for the benefit or the global impact on human health. We're already there, but they're chasing us feverishly. Okay, next slide. So here's what I want to talk about next, the supporting of that, the vitamins, the minerals, because nutrition is not, or your optimal health is not going to come from activators if you're not paying attention to other things in your life, like proper nutrition, proper supplementation. So here's our products that go along with that. We have an unbelievable hair care system, an unbelievable skin care system, an unbelievable personal care system that we add these activators to have an external or topical response so that we feel better, do more. Then we also have these supplements. So Daily Wellness has what? Vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and fermented yeast, additional nutritional support to optimize genetic expression. When the flips are switched, or the switches are flipped, and you're now adding vitamins and minerals, it's a greater impact. Axio, brain food, B vitamins, protecting your thought, your focus, your concentration, your mental clarity, your mood, motivation. With what? B vitamins. What are B vitamins for? For stress, to help your body have longevity and have sustainability through the stressful lives that we live. Omega plus, with the fish oil that comes along with that. There's also vitamin D in there, one of the most important vitamins that many people lack because they're afraid of the sun. Vitamin D, critical to health. And then obviously our NAD synergizer to help cellular cleanup, so that all of the things you're doing with this nutritional and vitamin support is optimizing itself anyway. And then we get into the next aspect of this, the additional nutritional supports that are coming. This is the future. We have new nutritional products coming. I can't mention them. We also have new activators coming. Can't mention them. Don't know what the timeline is. It really depends on a few things as far as product formulations and approval and scientific backing. But just suffice to say this, the NRF1, NRF2, and NAD are not the only pathways in your body that can be activated genetically with nutritional support. There are many others, and we are targeting many others. We're looking at many others. And here's the thing I want to share with you guys. The scientific validity of 28 PubMed studies, 31 studies altogether, of which no other company has anywhere near it. Most other companies don't even have one. We got that. Get in mind, Calico, not a single study. Altos Labs, not a single study. So sad, Jeff Bezos and Apple and Genentech and Google, no studies isn't going to get you anything. We already have 28 study head start. But here's the other part of this. It's what people want. If you were given right now a pharmaceutical option and a natural option that did the same thing, which do you think 95% of the population would choose? The natural approach. It's going to be cheaper, it's going to be safer, and it's going to be a lot less regulated. Well, we already know that. So here's our beneficial standpoint. When Altos Labs and when Calico Labs does in fact come out with a product, which they will, you can't put, the average scientist is being paid $1 million a year at Altos Labs to come up with new drugs. Suffice to say, they're going to find them. Yeah. But when they do, 95% of the population is going to want natural alternatives to whatever that is. And guess where they're going to go? They're going to go to Google. Here's the irony in this. I love this part of it. They're going to use their same format to go find us. And we're already here. We already have a 20-year head start. We already have a major jump with 3 products to market to their none. And we already have what the massive global population wants: safer, more inexpensive, and more easily accessible products. You don't have to go to your doctor to get a prescription for it. You can just get it through one of us. So it's more easily achievable. It is more readily available, and it is less expensive. We all know the major prices of drugs. All of that is benefit to the world as a whole. Why is this such an important opportunity? Because most people don't know, most of you didn't know the things I just shared with you, and most of the world doesn't know we have 3 products. Most of the world doesn't even know we have 1. That is our challenge, is to change that reality. And another really, really exciting thing, go ahead, the next slide, that we have a 5-year relationship. I mentioned those products. Third-party partnerships. One more slide. So we have a 5-year relationship. We just secured this. This is where Dr. Brian Dixon did his undergraduate work and postgraduate work, the Linus Pauling Institute. Linus Pauling was famous for his research in vitamin C, one of the most prestigious medical university institutes in the world, the Linus Pauling Institute. We've partnered with them for at least the next 5 years for them to do studies for us, to collaborate in new product development with us, and to take their reputation in the scientific community and our tagging our name and our relationship to this is going to bring a lot of eyes to us as a company that most people in the world have never heard of. So partnering with Linus Pauling Institute, to do research and new product development for us is going to be, let's just call it, greasing the slope for us at the possibilities of what lay ahead for what the world wants, the scientific community doesn't know that we have, and the world as a whole doesn't know that we have, which puts the onus and the urgency, as Marcy said when we started this, on all of us. The quicker we open our mouths, the louder and more passionate we share our story, the greater and more rapidly the world is going to know who we are and what we have to change the human DNA and longevity moving forward. So hopefully you guys got a greater understanding of who we are as a company, what's out there, what people are wanting, and why we are perfectly positioned to not only, we are the first, but to dominate forever this pursuit, because no one else is even in the same ballpark. No one else is even playing the same sport, which can be a liability for us. We need competition and we don't have it, but the future is that we will. And when we have competition, when we have people that are looking for us, we will always be first. We will always be the original, which gives us the most credibility and the most staying power and longevity. So thank you guys all for tuning in. I'm just so, as we're putting this together today and putting the slides, I'm just getting more and more excited. If I was not enrolled already, I'd enroll into myself. I'm that excited about this. So hopefully you guys got some great information to be able to share. We're going to be posting this video up on the Team Freedom Reigns YouTube channel later for your rewatching it and sharing if you need to, or to personally understand how powerful this opportunity is, and to also see that LifeVantage, as it relates to this industry, as it relates to our competition, is now and always has been thinking differently, which is why we are the greatest, best kept secret out there and the greatest prediction for dominating this industry well into the future. So thank you guys for tuning in. Do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, the only thing I want to add to this, because Dondi just covered it all so well, is that the 2022 Activate event that's coming up.
Yes.
Guys, so I've heard some things that there's some kind of misnomers or some ideas going around about that event, that it's just going to be a big party. And what I've got to tell you, it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's going to be like no event we've ever had before. And we actually have a marketing team now that has some severe and severe in a good way, experience in product launches and how to have us be prepared to be able to launch the new product that is coming, which, like Dondi said, he can't tell us because he's on the science advisory board. But it's going to be huge. So we're going to have the opportunity to be taught and trained on this new product, how to talk about it, what exactly this product does, so that you have the understanding and belief around this product before you try to start talking about it. How cool would that be? Does that sound like a really good idea for us to have the information and to be able to know how to talk about it before we start talking about it? So guys, make sure that if you have not gotten your ticket yet, please get your ticket for the Activate 2022 event so that you can be there too. And yes, there's going to be a lot of fun, like the RSL soccer game that we're all going to be going together for the sponsor night. There is going to be things going on that you will not want to just hear about. You want to be there to witness it. Plus you get 2 points for Croatia if you're running for Croatia.
Yes.
So guys, if you have any questions about that, plus Team Freedom Reigns, be looking for some announcements on the Team Freedom Reigns Facebook page about a one-day event that's going to be just before the 2022 Activate that you're going to want to participate in too. So be looking for that information. But awesome job.
Thank you.
Great job. All right, guys, hope that you're even more excited about what we have in our hands. And when he said greasing the slope, made me think of a slip and slide. So if you've ever been on a slip and slide, get ready for the ride of your life. So let's get out there and let's get talking about these amazing products we already have. I just want to make sure that we've got all of the information on here. Awesome. So glad that you guys enjoyed this call. John D spent a lot of time on it, and he wanted to make sure that it came to you exactly that way so that it was impactful. So thanks for being here, everybody.
You guys are awesome.
God bless you. Have a great night.
Take care, everybody.